Salsa family, and today I'm coming back at you guys with another Madden 22 video on the channel. And in today's video we're talking about team builders, and we're talking about the best one to pick. Now, as you guys may or may not know, within the mission section of Madden Ultimate Team, in the team affinity section, there are some missions in here that are going to allow you to get a not 84 overall team builder fantasy pack, and these are honestly super easy to do. So what we're doing in today's video is ranking the top 84 overall players to give you guys some perspective on my favorite cards and make sure you pick up an absolute stud to add to your team. And at the end of the video, we'll probably also do a little bit of talking when it comes to getting these missions done quickly. But without further ado, let's get into this pack right here, the 84 overall team builder pack. Beware, boys, when I click X on this, the animations are going to be beautiful, so brace yourself. And I mean, while we wait for the pack to reveal on the screen, you might as well leave a like. We don't have anything else to do right now, so hey, scroll down and drop a like. I would greatly appreciate it. So here we go, boys. We're going to open up the pack right here. As you guys will see, it's not going to show us the animation right off the bat. At the end of the video, I'll actually be making my personal selection, so you guys will see the cool animation at the end right there. But the way this pack works is essentially it's going to show all 32 teams. And then basically what you do is you figure out the player that you want, then you have to know what team they're on. You're going to select that specific team. It's going to give you two different options. There's an offensive and a defensive player for every squad, and then you'll select the player that you want on offense or defense from that specific team. So let's get straight up into this list. No need to waste any time, boys. There are 6 players that I want to talk about in today's video. The first one we're going to showcase right here is 84 overall OJ Howard. Now, OJ Howard, the main thing about this card is he is an absolute speed demon that is actually pretty solid when it comes to catching and running routes. The absolute prototype receiving tight end with 85 speed and 88 XL. That is really top end for a tight end, especially for an 84 overall tight end. That's really fire right there. Now, additionally, the catching stats are pretty good as well. Mid 80s when it comes to all the catching. The route running is mid to high 70s. Run blocking is relatively low, but that's not the main thing you're going to be doing with this card. You're going to want to throw the ball to him. You're going to want to allow him to run routes and catch the ball by showing off that high route running and high catching stats, as well as the really good speed to separate from some linebackers and safeties in Madden Ultimate Team, as well as find some spots within the zone. Now, it's also quickly important to mention right here that as we go through this video, you don't need to just select the card that I've got at the number 1 spot because he's number 1. I would recommend that you guys combine this list with personal preference and personal need to make your selection. Now, next up right here, we have an absolute machine at the right end position. This Quiddy Payne card is going to be on the Indianapolis Colts. He is a pass rusher, and this man has 87 speed and 88 acceleration. That is absolutely insane for a pass rusher, particularly a pass rusher on day 1. Otherwise, he's going to bring you 79 block shed, 78 power move. Those stats aren't really anything that amazing, but they're not that low either. The man can actually get off blocks in the run game and in the pass game. Usually when it comes to these prototypical fast defensive ends, it's pretty tough to find a card that's going to give you good block shedding, but this card is almost at an 80 when it comes to block shedding, so there is almost nothing left to be desired on this Quiddy Payne. He is a perfect pass rusher for you, and if you don't like the players that are higher up on this list, go ahead and select Quiddy Payne. He's going to be great for you coming off the edge on day 1. Now, this is where we get to the real meat and potato start of the video. We've got a couple of wide receivers, a corner, and a quarterback in the final 4 spots, and in my opinion, these are the best 4 cards you guys should be considering. If you don't need any players at those positions, then go ahead and select either the pass rusher or the tight end. But now we get into the really interesting part of the video. So at the number 4 and the number 3 spot, we have a pair of wide receivers in Chase Claypool and Deshaun Jackson. Now, it's really tough for me to say which one of these cards is better because it honestly comes down to how you like to play Madden. As we take a look at the stats on Chase Claypool and kind of just the overall build of the card, he's more of like a big-bodied wide receiver that's going to be able to catch passes in traffic and make some nice contested catches. The speed is at an 87, the acceleration is at an 86, the route running isn't that amazing, low 80s is pretty solid for basically all the route running, the catching is nice, and then obviously this Chase Claypool, he is 6'4", 238. That is a very different build than the wide receiver you guys will see up next. So Chase Claypool, if you want a receiver and you want a receiver that's able to catch passes in traffic and is going to be able to go up and get the football, then this is the card for you guys to get. But the other receiver I'm going to show you guys is Deshaun Jackson. Now, Deshaun Jackson, as you guys probably know, he's going to be a little bit smaller, a little bit faster, a little bit better at running routes. They're actually pretty similar when it comes to the route running, but the main difference is going to be the size as well as the speed. Deshaun Jackson, 5'10", 175, a lot smaller than the Chase Claypool, but a lot faster as well at 89 speed and 87 acceleration. That's going to be noticeable. That's 2 speed points. So it really just comes down to what you value more in Madden Ultimate Team, whether that be more speed or more size. In my personal opinion, I personally think that speed is a little bit more important at the receiver spot than size, but if your offense needs a wide receiver that's a little bit bigger and is maybe going to need to catch some passes in traffic over the middle or is going to maybe actually high point some footballs in Madden Ultimate Team, then go ahead and select the Chase Claypool. But if you need a receiver with a bit more speed, Deshaun Jackson is probably the one for you to go with. I personally have these cards at 3 and 4, and I actually am probably going to be selecting one of these two players. I'm not going with number 1 or number 2. We'll explain why in just a second, but Deshaun Jackson and Chase Claypool, that's number 3 and number 4. It's pretty tough to rate them. I would probably put Deshaun at 3 and Chase at 4, but again, like I said, it all comes down to personal preference. Now for the number 2 card right here, we have Fabian Moreau, and in my personal opinion, I think that the number 2 and the number 1 card, they are actually a lot better than the wide receivers. The only reason why I'm not selecting one of these players is because of the fact that I actually don't need any one of the positions. Now look at the stats on this Fabian Moreau card and tell me this doesn't look like at least like an 88 overall. He has 90 speed and 91 acceleration to go along with good agility and good jumping. The physical stats on this card are absolutely out of this world, and it's not like he's that small either. 6 foot 240, or sorry, 204. That's solid for a corner. Otherwise, those coverage stats definitely leave a lot to be desired, but I feel like in Madden Ultimate Team, there's not really any middle ground. It's either like a really fast corner with low coverage stats or a bit of a slower corner with better coverage stats. So in my personal opinion, this Fabian Moreau card, he is absolutely insane. If you're looking for a corner, this is who you should go with hands down. The only reason why I'm not picking this card is because I do have some other Nat players in the cornerback group, which I can't really get rid of right now, so Fabian probably wouldn't play a ton for me, but if you're in a situation where you're looking for a new corner, go with this card and do not look back. I have heard he plays absolutely insane. He definitely contests for the number 1 spot, and in my opinion, I think this is probably the player that I think like 90% of people should take. I'll explain why in just a second with card number 1, but Fabian, what an absolute demon at the corner spot. Now the number 1 player on this list is going to be Justin Fields. You guys will see why in just a second when it comes to these absolutely insane stats on the card. The man is absolutely cracked, but I do want to explain why, like I said before, I think Fabian Moreau might be a better pick for some people. Now the reason why I think Fabian might be a little bit better for most teams is because cornerback depth is a lot more important than quarterback depth. You can only use one quarterback in Madden Ultimate Team, but you can use multiple corners. So as the year goes on, Fabian Moreau is still going to have more value, but when you end up getting a new quarterback, it's like Justin Fields is useless because he's a Nat player. You can't sell him. You really can't do anything with the card. But the reason why Justin Fields is number 1 on this list is because in my opinion, objectively, the card is better than Fabian. When we're just comparing one card against the other, I think Justin Fields has better stats and is a better player, but when we're comparing the value of the cards and who I think is a little bit better on your team long term, I think Fabian is going to be a bit better. But Justin Fields, we got to talk about this card. 87 speed, 88 throw power. Those are like the holy trio when it comes to a quarterback, or the holy duo. Is that even a thing? High speed, high throw power. We get that on the Justin Fields. The accuracies, I know they're a little bit low. I think you're going to be fine with the Justin Fields. I've heard his release is pretty solid, and everything that I've heard about this card is absolutely lights out. I've heard he's a great quarterback. I've heard great things about this card, and I've heard really good things about Fabian Moreau. So in my personal opinion, it's really down to those top 4 players, unless you don't want a wide receiver, quarterback, or corner. But if you're in the position where you're deciding between this top 4, let me provide some insight. So firstly, if you're in need of a quarterback, you don't have a good quarterback right now, you just got this pack in Ultimate Team, I would say go Justin Fields. He's going to be insane for you. The next time you need to upgrade him, probably will be for quite some time, because this man is going to play really, really well for you. Now, if you don't need the QB, then I would move down the list to cornerback. If you don't need a corner, then you have to decide between those 2 wide receivers. For me, I don't need a QB. Patrick Mahomes is 88, will do fine. I've got some other corners that are going to be in my system. Deion Sanders, that free card's coming in soon. We're going to have the JC Jackson, the Jair Alexander that I did with my campaign. So I already have 3 really good corners right there. It's tough for me to get a cornerback 4 over like a wide receiver 2 right now. So in my personal opinion, I am probably going to be going with Deshaun Jackson from this pack. Now, I think it's also important to mention that you guys need to remember what team your player is on. Deshaun Jackson, he's no longer on the Eagles. He is on the Rams right now. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to select the Rams pack. We will pick Deshaun Jackson once we go ahead and select this pack right here. And we have an 84 overall receiver that we are going to be adding to the team with just some insane speed and some insane stats. I want to show you guys the pack animation because it is absolutely incredible. It is worth doing all the missions just to watch that pack animation. We're going to see it twice before we pick our Deshaun Jackson. And there we go, boys. We have a free 84 overall Deshaun. Now, at the end of the video, quickly just want to talk about the team affinity missions, how you guys can do these quickly. And in my personal opinion, I don't really recommend you guys grind through all of these. I would just let this happen naturally by playing solos and anything like that. If you're playing challenges, you're kind of getting 2 birds with 1 stone done by playing the challenges and racking up these missions. Whereas if you're just focusing on one specific mission and maybe you're playing a solo over and over again, it's much less efficient because you're not getting any other value from the solo challenges. All I'd really recommend you guys do is play through your solos like you usually do, play through your head-to-head seasons like you typically do, and in no time you'll have this pack. Come back to this video and make your 84 overall selection. Yeah, that's gonna do it for me. Hope you guys have enjoyed, and until next time, fellas, I am out. Peace. So,